Hey, everybody, welcome back to the show. I'm very excited as always to be with you because we have another amazing six-figure plus online entrepreneur today. And she is coming from Puerto Rico, and her name is Johanna Godinez. Johanna, how are you today?
I'm doing very well. How are you?
I'm doing super good today. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to meet with us and share all your wisdom for the audience. I'm sure you're going to have lots of valuable insights. So I think the conversation is going to be great. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited.
Awesome. Very cool. So before we actually dive in with some of the questions, if you could just take some time and kind of fill in everybody out there as to who you are, what you do, the people you serve, and all that kind of good stuff.
Absolutely. As you mentioned, my name is Johanna Godinez, and my company is called Bay Lifestyle. And Bay stands for Beyond Asana Yoga. And our whole business really surrounds the fact that yoga is more than most people think of. Yoga is the cessation of the fluctuations of your mind. It's how you understand your thoughts and you understand how your brain and your head and your being and your soul and your energy operate in this realm so that you don't suffer due to the mental things going on in your mind. The reason why I do this is because I had a lot of low points in my life, and I didn't understand the fact that what was keeping me that way was myself and the way that I was seeing my situation and seeing myself in the situation. And once I learned that and I learned how yoga addresses that, I really made it my life's mission to be able to spread this as much as I can. And currently I have a yoga school that's certified internationally through Yoga Alliance. So I do a lot of workshops, I do a lot of yoga teacher training. So I help yoga teachers or future yoga teachers get certified. And through those teacher trainings, we also offer like really immense immersive opportunities for people to get to know what yoga actually is, and so that they can teach themselves. A lot of people think, I don't want to teach anyone. You have to teach yourself. Anytime you want to learn something new, you have to teach yourself. And when you teach somebody else and you help clarify things with other people and you have open discussions, you learn a lot more of that stuff sticks. So that's what I've been creating. And I really stumbled upon my business. I'm an MBA, and I'm a firm believer that the universe gives you a lot of ideas of where you can go in life. And when we don't resist life, it actually flows a lot better. So although I've had a lot of difficult times in the business, I feel like the universe has always guided me into what can I do next. And yoga has helped me with that, because instead of being in a victim mentality, I often look for solutions when problems arise, which is huge, obviously, as an entrepreneur.
Yeah, absolutely. Very cool. Thanks for sharing that with us. And now you also were mentioning before the interview that you're doing some really cool retreats in some awesome places like Bali and Ecuador. Is that right? Tell us more about that.
Yeah. I feel like when people step out of like their day-to-day lives, it's so much easier for them to see things from a little bit of a different perspective and to be able to be open enough to adapt new habits and new ideas and new ways of living. And going to places where there's a lot of culture and where there's a lot of silence, where there's a lot of introspection, you tend to be able to have those insights a lot easier than if you're just at home or close to home. So I do these retreats to be able to offer these spaces where people can really step out of what they see as life and step into the possibility of what they can create and make in their life, which is really what we're here to do, is create. We are part of the creative process of this universe unfolding. So whenever we're not creating, we suffer in some way. So finding what we can create and something that inspires us just really helps us be happier people, and it helps us have a better relationship with money and with finances and with success, which is a huge thing when it comes to being financially free, because it's really all about your mindset.
Can you walk us through that kind of retreat experience when somebody shows up to the retreat? What happens?
Absolutely. I'll walk you through what the Bali one will be in September. So we
Nice.
get there on the 16th. On the 17th, we board a private boat that takes us snorkeling to 3 different areas where we'll swim with manta rays, swim with turtles, and we'll have a lunch on the boat. The boat drops us off at a different island. It's called Nusa Penida. We are 2 days in Nusa Penida. The morning of the 18th, we wake up at 6 a.m. and we hike down like 45 minutes worth of stairs to go to this completely desolate beach. We practice yoga there and have a breakfast there, and then come up and visit the whole east side of the island. And then the next day we do the same thing, but on the west side of the island. And then we come back to Bali. The 19th, the people who don't want to do the boat ride and do the other island, join us on the 19th. On the 20th, we go to all the water temples, which are like on the ocean on the west side of the island. The second day, we go into the inside part of the island and we visit the monkey forest and we do the rice fields. We do like a coffee plantation. And then the day after that, we visit a water holy temple where we go and we get into the temple and we get in the water and we're basically bathed in holy water. It's a really beautiful experience. And then the last day, we take a bike ride down to a waterfall and do a beautiful lunch and a closing ceremony with a dance called the Ketchup Dance, which is a really famous 90-minute performance with fire and dancing and lots of really cool outfits. And the point of it is for people to be up early enough to experience some of the cultural aspects, which everyone gets up in the morning and they have a temple in their home and they dress a certain way and they do an offering to the temple, whether it's with food or money or incense, and they set an intention. And it's a really powerful way of living because it's simple, but at the same time, it's very profound.
Sounds like a really transformational experience. Very cool.
It can be, yeah.
Okay, so now tell me a little bit more about what it's been like using the internet and leveraging that aspect of your business to grow and scale.
At the moment, the internet has been a lifesaver for me because this yoga school was created in 2019 for a company called the Bay Clubs in California. So this project was meant to organize their yoga program, which is why it's called Bay Lifestyle. When COVID hit, without me, they didn't really know how to implement the program and they didn't want to keep me around not knowing what was going to happen because my job was to create programs. And if people aren't going to the gym, why would they need someone creating new programs for them? I was let go, but I was gifted the school that they paid me to create. So the first YT or yoga teacher training was taught fully online and I really did not like it. I didn't think the students really got like what they wanted, but all the schools were making tons of money out of just offering these programs online. So instead of offering a full YT, I started doing workshops and things that would educate people on yoga, but not necessarily certify them to be yoga teachers. And even now, not only do I find the majority of my students through different means online, through social media, through different websites where I advertise the retreats, boosting posts, doing things with Google and with YouTube. So that kind of helps us online. And we do usually a portion of the teacher training online. So we'll do 30 or 40 hours online, and then they'll come to Puerto Rico or they'll come to Bali or Costa Rica, and they'll finish the rest of the program that way. Because I know it's hard for people to take off 3 or 4 weeks of their life. So we make it a little bit more accessible by offering a part of the program, 20-25% of the program online.
That's great. I love that kind of hybrid model. I think one of the things that's kept me from doing my 200 or 300 YT is probably that same thing, just taking that chunk of time out of my life to actually go and do all of that. So I love that very much. That's very cool.
I'll invite you in February. The one in February, you do 2 weeks, 6 days in the evenings, 3 hours, and then you come down and you spend 2 weeks here in Puerto Rico in this beautiful space here.
Nice. Excellent. I love it. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Yeah.
Okay, now I want to ask you, what would you say is your biggest kind of financial roadblock in your business right now?
I'm going to be honest. I don't just do stuff online. I am very diversified. Like I own real estate. I have money in the stock market. I have money in cryptocurrency, and I do what I do online. So at the moment, because this part of the business is still growing, a lot of the other things that I do on the outside are what are sustaining me. And the money that the business is making is sustaining the business. So one of the benefits of being diversified, and what I always tell people, especially when they're starting their own business, and especially if they're starting it online, is not to let go of the things that they have that are bringing them income until that business matches or exceeds the income that they need in in order to live. Why? Because in case that it takes longer than you forecasted, or you realize, oh my God, I thought I would love to be in this business, but really this isn't for me. I don't want to be an entrepreneur. I don't have the skills, or it's not, I need someone to hold me accountable a little more. Then you can easily walk away from that and not have any type of financial burden. So for now, while the business is growing, that's really my kink. My kink is that the business is supporting itself, but it's not supporting me at the moment. I'm still having to do other things. However, what the business is supporting is growing itself. So we went from an online school to a school that did retreats in Airbnbs and in other retreat centers that paying other people for it, to now having a space where we have 5 beds and we'll have 10 beds within the next month and a half. So the reason why I'm actually keeping it also that way is because by me keeping the money being invested in the business, I'm growing the business to the point that when I do start paying myself, I'm going to be able to start paying myself well. So it's all kind of a strategy. And yeah, for anyone out there, diversifying is really the way to do things, because then when one thing isn't working as well, you don't have the stress. Because if one thing is very clear to me is that financial freedom means something very different to everyone. My cousin is financially free, but he works 7 days a week and 60 some hours a freaking week. And I'm like, dude, yeah, you're financially free, but you're far from free. You're just
Yeah.
financially free. And to be honest, to me, that's not freedom. So financial freedom means to me, one, my bills are taken care of. Even if I can't live in luxury, my bills are taken care of. And 2, I'm not stressing over money because I don't have that kind of relationship with money. And 3, I have things set up for my future where I have to worry today about today. I don't need to worry today about when I'm 60 and I want to retire, or when I'm 65 and I want to retire, which isn't realistic because I'm really never going to retire because I love what I do. But if anything happens, right, physically or mentally, and you have to, it's important for us to really have that knowledge on how to support ourselves in a way that creates the freedom, where maybe the freedom isn't having $10 million, but the freedom is the peace of mind of knowing that like you are set in a way. And that gives us a lot of power, right? Because it then allows us some freedom to play and to make some decisions that may not be as good of decisions, but we're still being able to attempt different things because we have that freedom, where we're not counting on, if this doesn't work right now, I need the money kind of thing. It's terrible to operate under those conditions.
Yeah, absolutely. Some really great and important points in there. And I really like how you pointed out just keeping your other streams of income or your other cash flow coming in while you grow that business, because what a lot of people miss is that sometimes your highest leverage asset is actually the business itself. And so rather than putting it into the stock market or somewhere else, being able to keep it inside the business, even maybe if you're not paying yourself, can help that grow a lot more quickly.
Absolutely. If I was paying myself, I would be paying myself. I wouldn't be able to grow the business because it's the money that I would be paying myself with that I'm using. And the way that I set up my business here in Puerto Rico, my business is tax-free up to $300,000. So I would be stupid to pay myself because instead of putting it here, I would pay myself and then give 25 or 30% to the government, versus if I'm keeping it in the business, I don't need to pay any taxes at all as I'm growing the business. So I have 25% more money to put into the business that I would have if I paid myself. So it's also understanding those aspects of it and understanding then how to set up your business properly so that it helps you in that sense.
Yeah, reducing your tax burden is so crucial. And that's another thing that people often miss, is the most savings you can often get is just changing the way that you're taxed if you can. I want to ask you then, what is your biggest kind of financial goal on a personal level right now?
On a personal level, it is to be able to fully fund this place, to finish this place. We have about 200 grand left to finish it the way that we want it finished. Right now we have some investors, which is amazing, because what I've been doing is I've been partnering up with other people that do retreats or do events, and basically they're investing ahead of time for their ability to come use the space when they have an event. And then we work it backwards, where we deduct what I owe them based on how much they're coming here. And it's a blessing to be able to have created relationships where I can do something like that. But yeah, it's mainly to be able to say, I do not want to ask anyone for money to build this place that isn't someone that's invested in this. So yeah, so I think that's the biggest goal, is to be able to come up with the funds. I have a Kickstarter account right now going, a campaign going, where again, you pay upfront, but then you have X amount of years to come down and do a retreat down here. So really you're just prepaying for it. But it's a way for people to be able to feel like they're part of something. One of the amazing things about this space is that when people come, they don't want to leave. Like two of my students, we finished yoga teacher training almost a month ago, and two of them are still here hanging out. So
Wow.
it's they help also develop the space, because them staying here and paying rent to be here means that we have more money to put into the space because I'm keeping the money in the business. So it's a beautiful thing to be able to create something that other people can believe in and be a part of as well. So community, especially in this online space, is really important if you want to get anywhere.
Yeah, absolutely. And now you mentioned something earlier that I wanted to touch on, and that's that you can have financial freedom as far as like an actual number goes. But if you don't have the time freedom, or you don't give yourself the time at least, how free are you actually? So for you, beyond the like number itself, what is financial freedom for you? And when you're to the point that you can step back from your business, not show up to work in the business at all if you don't want to, and spend your time as you please, what will you do with your time?
The thing is, I'll never step away from this. Like, my goals are so incredibly intense and immense. Like, I want to have a yoga program in universities. I work a lot with inmates, with people in jail, people that have felony convictions, and I want to change the laws of felony convictions. I don't think it's right that someone who got caught with pot 20 years ago when it was a felony has a felony in their record as the same that someone that killed a family of 3 people. Tell me how that makes sense. Tell me how that makes sense. So for me, like, the things that I want to work on are so big, and the things that I see coming are so huge that, to me, I don't think I'll ever really step away from the business. I don't think I'll ever just wipe off my hands. But if I really wanted to, if I didn't live an extravagant life, I could walk away right now. But that's not what I want to do, because I want to make an impact. It's not about the money for me. It's about an impact. I can not do anything the rest of my life, and I will be able to eat, and I'll be able to survive forever. But is that really why we're here? To me, that's not why we're here. We're here to learn things and share things and help each other grow and help each other understand life at a deeper level. So I feel like it would be a disservice to myself and humanity to say, oh, I have enough money to be free now, so whatever message I have and whatever help I'm actually bringing humanity, I don't need to do that anymore, because I got all the money that I need. I just can't operate from that space.
Yeah, I think that's a point that so many people resonate with on the entrepreneurial journey, because as great as the money is, it's really about the impact that you have on the world and helping others. Very nice.
Absolutely. And the more money you have, the more impact you can have. So just because you're helping doesn't mean you shouldn't get paid for it. Let me say that again. Just because you're nice and you want to help and you want it doesn't mean you don't have to get paid, because the more money you have, the more you can help. If I want to go to some village in Africa where I found someone on Instagram that's been teaching but has no way to get certified because the certification costs thousands of dollars, I would love to be able to just get on a plane and go to Africa and spend a month there and certify them and not have to get paid by them. That's the kind of freedom that making enough money gives you, is to be able to say, I don't need you to pay me. You can give me something else. You can give me your time. You can give me your energy. You can give me the gift of sharing this with other people. And that could be payment enough. So it's also, again, changing our idea of what financial freedom is and what our desires of what we want to create and the kind of legacy that we want to leave, whether it's only financially based or whether it's based on doing something that goes far beyond what money can leave. Because money, when you die, it stays and that's it, and nothing happens. But if you touch somebody's life, that will resonate for eternity, and that's a lot more powerful than money will ever be.
I love it. Now tell me, where do you see the business in 2 years from now?
In 2 years, I see our yoga studio complete, which is the next phase of the project after the one we start literally in 1 week from today. I see that being finished because that will give us an ability to house a few more people here. We are restricted based on the amount of space that has enough roof over it. We are in a tropical island, so rain happens. It could be just like this, and in 5 minutes raining, and then in 5 minutes more just like this. We have to make sure that everything's covered up. So I see us having that second phase, or it's really the third phase, but that second phase that's coming up done, and more people coming here and enjoying the space and the beautiful healing that it brings.
Wonderful. Johanna, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. It's been wonderful, everything that you share with us. I know you've provided a ton of value. Love the great stories, and continued success to you. So for anybody who wants to know more about you and connect and learn more, where can they go to do that?
You can give me a call. My number is 815-501-5070. You can find me on Instagram at bay_lifestyle_PR or www.baylifestyle.com.
All right, very nice. Thank you for sharing that with us and for taking the time out of your day to come on the podcast. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Awesome. Thanks for having me, Chris.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, if you're listening out there and you've enjoyed this podcast, please go ahead and subscribe if you haven't had the chance already. And you can also leave us one of those 5-star reviews. That helps us out a lot. All right, we'll see you all next time. Johanna, thanks again.
Thank you. Have a good one.